Alex. He is the producer of Star Crusade. So could you just tell me a little bit about what the game is?
Sure. Star Crusade is a collectible card game set in a sci-fi universe. It's our own world that we've kind of built up. It's got 6 factions. We got 400 cards. A lot of customization. You can have variable card size. You can have different modules that you can add to your deck. And the game is available on PC right now through Steam Early Access and coming soon to iOS and Android devices.
And so, you know, obviously I'm sure the question is, what separates us from Hearthstone?
Sure. Well, Hearthstone, we love Hearthstone. It's a great game. We played it a lot, played a lot of other games, Magic the Gathering, a lot of other card games. And I think the main separation is the level of customization that you can do in our game, besides the sci-fi, obviously, universe and a lot of the lore and kind of custom stuff. The customization that you can do starts from the fact that you can do variable size deck, so 25 cards to 40 cards. You don't have to, if you want to go a fast deck, you could build a 25 card deck, but you will face opponents that have a range from 25 to 40. And that also determines the starting health of your commander. So that adds a lot of variability, and when you're designing decks, you got to be careful because you got to take into account the fact that people are playing all kinds of different cards, all kinds of different decks. The second thing is modules. Each faction has 8 to 10 modules that they can bring to battle, that they can attach to a deck. And each deck can hold up to 3 modules. So, and the module uses a secondary energy system, which you get by doing other things in game. So essentially, we have upgraded resource management, new variations on what kind of decks you can build, and endless customization with modules, essentially. And with all those 3 things together combine to form an entirely different animal.
So you were mentioning the different card sizes. You can have like 25 to 40 decks. So what is the advantage of having a 25 card deck if your health is going to be 25 and you're going to go up against opponents who have 40 health?
Right, right. So initially when we were playing it, we also thought that first everybody would go 25 cards because it gives you greater control over what cards come out. So you also draw, the player with the least cards in his deck gets to draw an extra card at the beginning of game. So if you've got 30 cards, I've got 25, I'm going to draw an extra card. That extra card gives me 4 or 5 cards at the beginning, which I can then mulligan, throw away, get another 4 to 5 cards. So I have essentially 8 to 10 cards that I could possibly get, which means that I could get a lot more exact about which cards I'm bringing into my starting hand. The offside, of course, is that my health is a lot less, which if you're sitting on a 40 card deck, you have 40 health. Maybe you don't really care what kind of cards I draw because you have all kinds of protection that you've got there, you've got restoration that you have, shields, whatever it is. And so initially we thought that the greater control would be what's being played a lot. But then players would experiment with 40 card control decks and 25 card rush, and there's cards in the middle, there's 30 card decks, there's 35, there's 33, there's all kinds of variation. Trump recently played Star Crusade for the first time and he said, I would assume everybody plays 25 card deck. Is that what you're seeing? And we said, no, no. Our analytics shows that people play a range of decks because they all counter each other, and you have to be very careful against who you think you might come up against when you're designing your deck.
And so you talked about the different types of factions that are on here. So could you describe some of them for us?
Sure. So we have 6 factions that are each very unique, and they have different play styles, different things that you can do within each faction. Theoretically, you can make any faction into a rush, mid-range, combo, or control deck, theoretically. There's the classic card game archetypes, but within that, each faction brings their own variation. For instance, the Anunnaki have a way that they impact other units, where they debuff them, they take control of them, and they make them do things that maybe the opponent didn't want to do. And every faction has their own theme running through them. So the Hajar Gaga, these brutal warlords, and they deal a lot of damage to their own units and get stronger that way. And modules really emphasize certain specific things of each faction. So for instance, there may be a module which is dependent on a specific condition, like the Shanti, who shape basically genetics into living weapons. They use mutations a lot. People really like that mechanic. It's very different from what they've seen. And they have this thing called a module called natural selection. If you have 3 of a certain unit type out, it automatically mutates at the end of the turn. And that's your module. So you can bring that, and then you'll get specific benefits from that. If you bring something else, you'll have an entirely different deck.
Awesome. And so I actually played with that one that you were mentioning with the mutation and things, the Shanti. So I noticed that there were like 3 different places that they could put in their cards. So it looked like there was a regular mutation. There were like a couple other slots. So
yeah. So those slots, so those 3 modules, they're already set modules. So when you're making your deck, you can bring 1, 2, or 3 modules to any battle. And so that deck was already customized with those modules. If you bring only 1 module, then you get 2 what are called fusion reactors. Those give you 1 energy at the end of turn for free. So that way it balances out. If you want to gather energy faster, you would just bring 1 module, for instance. And then you get energy faster. You can use it on other abilities, either the module or other cards that impact. We have cards called Energize. So you have a regular sniper, for instance. It comes out, it deals 1 damage. But if you energize it, if you spend 6 energy, then it can go back to your hand after you played it. So people can do combinations with that.
So you said it's already out for PC, is that right? Yeah. And then so have you been seeing like a lot of, Hearthstone has a huge Twitch streaming. Have you seen a lot of people have been streaming this and their different play styles?
Yeah, so we love our streamers. We have maybe 10 or 15 streamers that we have just from our closed beta and open beta days. And right now in Steam, we're technically still in open beta, so it's an early access, but you can download it now and people have been playing it. And there's probably streamers going on every day. So it's a small community right now, but today with PAX, we kind of want to open the door a little bit and introduce some more people to the game.
So you said it's early access now, so when is the expected release date?
So we're planning to release globally hopefully within a few months to get the iOS and Android version up and also release on PC.
So with the iOS and Android and PC, are people going to be able to play against each other on those different platforms? Yeah.
Definitely. It's definitely cross-platform, and you keep your account. You have 1 account. If you've played on Steam before, you can import it, and then you can basically merge them together, whether you're playing Android, iOS, tablet, or phone, or PC, or we're going to hopefully release to Mac and a few other platforms. They're all going to be 1 account. And folks that have been playing for months now in early access, they keep all of their cards. Nothing is ever erased, and your collection just grows from here on in.
And how do people collect their cards? How do they get cards?
So we've been told, one thing is for me to say that our game is free to play, and that's always been our mantra. We always want to make sure free to play. Another thing is if you go to the forums and ask our actual players, and they will tell you that the game is very much free to play. In other words, it's centered around those players that do not buy booster packs. Right now, the only way to get cards is to earn them through doing missions, through just playing in different modes, ranked, casual, raid, and through doing events or to climbing the season ladder. We have season resets, and we have multiple types of seasons. And then you get lots of rewards, and you can continue building your collection without ever buying. But those folks that want access immediately, of course, they can buy 10, 20, 50 booster packs, 6 cards a pack, and just get right into the game.
So you just mentioned another mode, raids. What is that?
So raid mode is a draft mode. It's like a traditional draft mode. So you get to pick your cards from choices of 3. Then you also get to pick your modules, and then you go into the game and you fight other players. For control of certain. There's a galaxy, basically a space map, and you're fighting for control of planets. And certain planets give you certain rewards. You can choose the route that you go, the type of opponents you face, their difficulty, and their faction. And then you get rewards with each planet. So you get cards, you get scrap, which you then can use to build cards. You get booster packs, you get credits, you get all kinds of stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.